Sorry that I can't be around today. I'm off on a science adventure at the coast at the OMSI Science Camp. Um, and I hope that you all are able to get a ton of work done and you feel really good about where you stand at the end of the day, either Tuesday or Wednesday, because Thursday and Friday of this week we're going to be collecting specimens. And that means some of the work I'll take care of, making sure that we have all the materials and supplies. But it also means that you will not have time during class to continue um, trying to um, identify organisms that you can find here on campus or elsewhere, nor will you have time to work on the specimen cards. So ideally, you get a good number of organisms identified, located here on campus without collecting them, and you, by the end of this class period, you have specimen cards for all of those identified organisms. And keep in mind that, as always, my criteria for evaluating you is based not entirely on things like, well, did you get 12 organisms? Um, I know many of you will, and some of you won't. I'm less concerned with whether you get 12 organisms. I'm more concerned with whether or not you've been using your class time effectively and you've been really engaged and thoughtful about the learning that you're doing. As of right now, what you should have done is found a bunch of organisms, maybe not 12, but ideally pretty close to 12, 9, 10 maybe, and you've located them here on campus. You shouldn't have collected them, and you're not going to collect them today, but you should know where they are so that on Thursday and Friday during class, you will be able to collect them. And then you should have made partial specimen cards for all of these. So far, what you should have is um, you should have the specimen number, and the number isn't, there's no system. It's just you're going to number all your specimens from 1 to 12 in any order. You just need to make sure that you have a specimen card with a number on it, and then when you collect a specimen, you're going to put it in a bag with that same number so we can match up the numbers. If I look at specimen card number 3, that should tell me information about the organism that's in specimen bag number 3. You should have your name on the cards, of course, the name of the organism, the phylum to which the organism belongs, and since you are supposed to be looking at organisms from different phyla, you should have you shouldn't have the same phylum more than once in your specimen cards. And then, as specifically as possible, I want you to identify where you collected it. So if you found it here on campus, you could say, I found this on the flat bridge between the gym and the C building on the west side of the bridge by the creek. Those are the kinds of things that I think would allow somebody else to find the organism in your collection site. Today, what you're going to be doing is wrapping up the specimen card. So there's some stuff that we're going to have to modify a little bit. So we did not go into the details of what we call in biology shared derived traits or synapomorphies. And so really all you need to do for this characteristic, which is right here on the specimen card, is just talk about some attribute of all of the organisms in this phylum that's at least somewhat unique. So I'll give you an example right now. If you had found a ginkgo tree, that's a member of the phylum Ginkgophyta. And so you could type up Ginkgophyta characteristics in Google, and it'll list some things that are key characters of Ginkgophyta, which apparently I mistyped, Ginkgophyta organisms. So some of these things you may not know. You may not know what a taproot system is, but a fan-shaped leaf, which is doubly lobed, that seems like something that we could understand. And if you look at an image, you can kind of see, oh yeah, it looks like a fan and it's got 2 lobes. So that is an example of the kind of thing that you're looking for. The information that you find may be a visual characteristic, an appearance. It may be a biochemical characteristic, maybe some internal chemical that this organism has in its cells. Any unique characteristic is fine. So, and ideally, you'd find something interesting. I don't know that fan-shaped bilobed leaves is particularly interesting for the ginkgo phyta, but you won't necessarily find something extraordinary for all of the different organisms that we're looking at. But ideally, you'll find something at least mildly interesting for all of the phyla that you have collected organisms from. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to try to find some information about about the ecological relevance of the organism. So again, if you look at the assignment, what you'll see is it says relevance on the species card. If you look at the document that was given to the university students, they're asking specifically, how is this organism or phylum relevant to their future career? But these were, college sophomores and above who really have a targeted career goal in mind. And we recognize you don't all have that. Some of you know what you might want to do down the road, and some of you don't. So instead of thinking about your career, what we're going to do is we're going to think about the ecological significance. So again, we could just go to Google and type ginkgo phyta ecological impact or significance, and let's see. So immediately, like the first link we come up with, something that looks like it's talking about its ability to survive all sorts of different growing conditions. So it looks like it can endure changes in temperature. It looks like it was a organism that actually did fairly well even after a nuclear bomb exploded in Japan. And so there's all sorts of information here about the biochemistry, which leads to this resilience. But I think it's reasonable to say, well, one of the things that's ecologically significant about the ginkgo phyta is that they're tenacious. They can survive adverse growing conditions. So that will be the second piece of information, the relevance. And again, this is not going to be with reference to your future career. This is going to be the ecological relevance of the organism or the phylum that you're looking at. And then the last thing is a citation. And most of you are going to have one or maybe two citations. You might have more, but wherever you find information on the unique characteristic and wherever you find information on the ecological significance should both be cited. And this, as it turns out, is going to be really easy to take care of. There's a link in today's module. If you click on that, it will take you to the official webpage for this class where they talk about citations. There's a whole bunch of stuff here you can look at, but you don't have to go into the details. You can just click here where it says Son of Citation Machine, or there's another link there called EasyBib. And there probably will be some ads on here that pop up. My apologies in advance. If you click here where it says Create Citations, and then your sources almost exclusively are going to be websites. So click on Website, and then when you put your website in, you can just copy and paste the link. So don't close the website before you start looking for your citation. And then let's see what we get here. It's gonna search, and here's our citation. It found one, so I'm gonna click here where it says Cite, and then basically what happens is that okay, here's my ad. Sorry. Basically what happens here is there's gonna be some stuff that we don't know. We're not going to find it. You don't need to find the publisher or sponsor or the date published. Sometimes they're going to look for an author. If you click continue here, it asks you to try to find some additional information, and you can just ignore it. Just click complete citation, and what you'll end up with is what you should put on your card. So it says here your citation may be missing information. That's true. Most websites do not have everything you need for a complete citation, but this is just fine. So you can just write this information right here on your card. You can also, if it's easier for you, you could type it up, or you could copy and paste it, and you could print later, and then you can cut it out and tape it onto your card. Whatever is easier for you. I would handwrite it. For me, that would be a lot easier. But if it's easier for you to do stuff all online and with a computer, that's fine as well. So those three things are what your goal for today should be: to take all of the specimen cards that you've started and complete the unique characteristic, which in the original assignment was called shared derived traits or synapomorphy, but really we're just thinking about a unique characteristic. The relevance, which in the original assignment was about your future career, but we're going to change that so that we just think about the ecological significance of the organism. And then citations, and most of you will only have 1 or 2 citations for each card. At the end of the period today, ideally, everyone would have 12 organisms that you've found but not collected here on campus, and 12 specimen cards that are complete with all of the information shown here. But again, remember that in this class, we understand people work at different paces, and some of you might have targeted organisms that you weren't able to find. There's a whole bunch of reasons why maybe you didn't end up with 12 completed specimen cards for 12 organisms that you know exactly where to find them on campus. As always, it's how well you use your class time, how much you're thinking about and learning about the biology involved here, and the way that you approach the assignment that makes the most difference. And I'll be back on Thursday and Friday, so any questions that you have that can't get answered before then, we can get taken care of. And just remember to try to enjoy yourselves and try to find some neat organisms, and think about how amazing it is that we live on a planet with all these different kinds of creatures and organisms surrounding us at all times. Best of luck to you. Have fun.